will be Greg Biffle, and he drove the number 16 3M Ford for Roush Fenway Racing. And Greg, you had a great time, went out there late, was sitting on the pole there for a little while. Just talk about how the track conditions were and how your car executed out there tonight.
Yeah, I wasn't on the pole as long as I wanted to be. I was on there for about 2 cars or so, but I'll tell you what, I was surprised, very surprised the track didn't have more grip than it did. Watching all those guys go, and so I was, using the Kevin Harvick mentality of don't try for more than what the track's giving everybody right now, and so that was my mindset going in. And when I left, coming across turn 3 and 4, the car had so much grip. I barely even came out of the gas. I about went flat across 3 and 4 coming to the green, and I thought this racetrack has got a ton of grip, and so I got all I could in turn 1 and 2, similar like what Kevin said, and it had so much grip down there that it kind of sucked me into 3 and 4, thinking that it was going to be as good as 1 and 2, and I drove it down in there, and it went straight to the bottom, and I'm like, oh, I got this, and I went to the gas, and it started slipping the nose up the racetrack, and actually came out of the gas pretty far, was touched, believe it or not, touched the brake pedal and back in the gas because I wasn't sure what it felt like. It was going straight ahead there for a bit, but so it would run much faster if I had to back the corner up just a hair. But I think Jeff had the best opportunity. Watched where everybody made mistakes, and it looked like he was quite a bit behind us and going into turn 3, and looked like he was going to be about 5th, and then came out with a pole. So he got a really good 3 and 4, and I wish I would have really happy with starting up front. Especially after the week we had last week. We struggled a little bit, but ended up a medium finish, but I'm looking forward to Saturday night.
Thank you, Greg. And our second quickest qualifier is Kevin Harvick. He drives the number 29 Jimmy John's Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing. Last week's race winner at Kansas Speedway. Kevin, certainly had a great qualifying effort out here tonight. Coming off of a big win. You're right in the middle of the championship hunt. Just talk about the effort that you had this afternoon and then qualifying tonight.
Well, if we wouldn't have had the pole last week, we probably wouldn't be disappointed this week. For us, qualifying has never been a strong suit of what we do. But to have a better pit selection and not have to pass half the field to start the race and keep yourself on the lead lap and worry about your car in traffic is a good sign for us. So. We were able to get some race practice in before we put it into qualifying trim, and qualifying trim was really good right off the bat. So I just knew 1 and 2 was going to be our corner, and probably just gave up a little bit too much in 3 and 4, making sure that I didn't push the nose up off the corner. So that was probably the difference in the pole for us.
Okay, we'll take questions now for Kevin or Greg. If you have them, raise your hand, and we'll bring you the wireless mic. Questions right here on the front row. We can get Tom a question, then Bob, then over here to Reed.
Hi guys, Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com.
How we doing? We're trying to figure out how fast Jeff Gordon ran. What was his time?
We're just looking for his lap time.
Jeff Gordon,
I'll tell you, hang on.
27.791.
Okay.
Thanks.
Top 5 guys separated by less than a tenth. Were you all surprised how much the track picked up at the very, very end? Because Casey Kane went out, I believe, second and was on the pole for what, the first 40 guys, and then it just seemed like you went out one after another and faster than each other.
I think it's like Greg said. I think everybody sat and watched and saw that guys were trying to get too much on this end, and you could take as much as you wanted to pretty much on this end. So I think there was a lot of good cars at the end of the session as well. So I think a lot of that just kept leading up to the cars going faster and faster at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And I got out of the car, said the same exact thing that Casey said, word for word. Casey said, man, I probably would have run a 60, if I wouldn't have pushed up in 3 and 4. And I feel the same exact way. I mean, I just went back and watched the lap, and at the end of the backstretch, I was in the green by a mile, and then just barely beat the 5 at the start-finish line, because I was way out of the gas. So I think a lot of guys did that very same thing. And there was just good cars at the end. But I am surprised that we've seen that the track doesn't pick up speed throughout qualifying every once in a while, and it's kind of weird it does that.
Let's go to Bob. You had a question? Bob, and then over here to Reed.
Bob Parker, Sporting News. For both you guys, what's it like going into this weekend compared to last weekend after qualifying? You still had all the questions still but kind of about the tire, and you knew there was going to be a temperature change, and this, it seems that things would kind of be more kind of constant or more kind of stable this weekend over the next couple of days. Is there any real difference or a little bit more maybe confidence in what you did today will last through the weekend?
Well, I think for us, we have pretty much the same 4 springs in the car that we ran last week in the same car, but you have a lot less circumstances to deal with, mainly with the weather, in my opinion, because when we tested on Thursday, we fought the exact opposite problems for the rest of the weekend as we went through the colder weather. So obviously there were some unknowns with the tires, but there's going to be similar challenges with the cars, because they seem like they're going to fall off a ton. The track seems a little more abrasive, rougher than what it has in the past. So tremendous amount of fall off in the nationwide cars and the Cup cars in practice. So you're going to have to control the tightness of the car, and with the speed at the beginning of the run and making your car run through the whole run is going to be a challenge.
Go over here to the right to Reed. Go ahead.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. Kevin, first pole in 7 years last week, front row this week. Is that an indication that you've suddenly found a little bit more speed in the cars, or is it greater emphasis on qualifying for the chase? And second, could you talk about turning the car around from getting it back Tuesday night and getting it ready for this evening?
Yeah, that's turning the car around couldn't have come in a worse week. We tested in Martinsville for 2 days, and so we had to split the guys up to go down to the inspection on Tuesday, and so they basically Wednesday night and basically rebuilt the whole car and put it back together. So but that everybody wants to win. I mean, we're racing in the thick of the championship, and qualifying well for us was a huge benefit last week with that first pit stall. Obviously we wanted to be greedy and get that again tonight, but I think the cars are just better than what they have. They've been working hard because we had that pad leading into the chase to really go to work and come out with some better cars and engines and things and apply them as the chase has come on. So it's been nice to see the speed, and you always when you're in that position, it seems like everybody just digs a little deeper to make the details a little bit better on the car and the driver, and everybody just finds a little bit more when it comes chase time.
Other questions? Let's go to Stan right here in the back right there. Raise your head, Stan, and then we'll go right up here to Mike.
Stan Creekmore with RPMTonight.com. For both of you, actually, as you watched Gordon make his lap, did you have any feeling that he actually was gonna grab the pole away from you?
Well, I was in the car, or Kevin was probably still in the car, and I was looking at the monitor because they're getting ready to interview me. And he was probably, I'm going to say, at least fifth or worse getting into turn 3. And he laid down a really good 3 and 4. His car really worked. There's a lot of speed down there if you get it hooking around the white line. There's a ton of speed. And so I turned around thinking we were going to be on the front row. I didn't think he was going to beat me or Kevin, and then came back and beat both of us. So.
Yeah, I had no idea. I was obviously in the car, but that was obviously you want the pole, but it was exciting for the fans. They were having a good time.
Let's go up here to the front row, Mike.
Mike Neff from FrontStretch.com. For both of you, especially for Greg, we very rarely see anybody spin out in qualifying anymore. But look, watching your lap, especially Greg, you were definitely on the edge. How close to losing it are you when you go out there in these qualifying laps?
Well, I was wondering why you said especially me and talking about spinning out. Yeah, the car just hooked the bottom of the racetrack really good, and the car's got a lot of side force. I drove it down in turn 1 a long ways, and when it landed down in there, it kind of turned, hooked a little bit, and it got a little sideways, and I was in the gas when it did that, and just kind of turned the wheel a little bit to the right. But the different aero package, the cars have a tremendous amount of side force, and they don't when they get a little bit loose, they want to straighten themselves back up a little bit to a degree. They will take off, but I think that's got a lot to do with it. This different aero packages, different car.
Any more questions? All right, Kevin and Greg, congratulations on the qualifying, and we'll see you out here tomorrow, and good luck Saturday night.
Thanks, guys.
And I don't think you can say it at all prior to Talladega either, because there's just too many factors that can come out of that. But even Martinsville, I mean, there's just too much racing left to go. So those guys are strong and tough and great race teams. Going to be tough this weekend and going to be tough every weekend. So they're going to be hard to beat. But it's going to take performances like Kevin did last week and, a performance like we had tonight to make up ground on those guys. But it's possible. There's no doubt it's possible.
All right, we'll go with Reed, Bob Pockris, Al Pierce.
Reed Spencer with
Jim Utter.
NASCAR Wire Service. Similar question, but how do you feel personally about your chances, and do you feel like you're going to have to win a race or two over the next 6 to have a chance?
Yes, I do think we're going to have to win a race or two. I can tell you that I'm feeling better every race. I thought that we really started making ground up weeks prior to Richmond, and then in Chicago, I thought we were fantastic there and had to come from behind with the flat left rear tire and to get up to 6. I thought that was a great performance, and just every week that we perform well and lead laps and run up front just builds our confidence that we can win races and put together some great runs and performances to get the points that we need. So every week, we just gain in confidence, and at this point it's just going all out, giving it everything we have. We're not really thinking about points. We're just trying to win races and get the best finishes that we can. And, right now we're just having fun.
I will go with Bob Pockris, Al Pierce, Jim Utter. Go ahead, Bob.
Bob Pockris, Sporting News. You talk about watching some of the guys on their qualifying lap a little bit. I'm curious, do you watch what your teammates do more because you kind of have a little bit idea of what's in their car, and what do you think when, I guess 3 of them were in the top 5 before you went off?
Well, certainly, being in the same shop as the 5-car, we know exactly what all of our teammates have, but we also work, probably a little bit closer with Kenny, and so, when he went early, we knew what he had in practice, and we thought, going out early certainly was gonna hurt him a little bit, but his comments backed up what we were kind of seeing in practice, and it seemed like that was a trend that we saw. I didn't get to really watch much other than on the little monitor, the 88. I didn't get to see the 48 really at all, but we pay attention to them very closely because we do know what setups and balance on our sim computers and what it shows and what our car should be. It's not always 100% accurate, but it's usually pretty close, and that definitely gives us direction. We can still make minor air pressure adjustments sitting there on pit road. So that's, to me, one of the biggest advantages of going out late is just seeing what the track's doing and knowing what our balance was and what adjustments maybe we need to make. Sometimes that takes you in the wrong path. You make the wrong adjustments, but sometimes you make the right ones. And I don't know if we made any tonight, but the car certainly did what I wanted it to.
Let's go to Al Pierce, Jim Utter, and finish up with Dustin Long.
Jeff, Al Pierce from Auto Week. When you saw what you had to do to win the pole, knowing you were the last guy out, did you think, I can do that? Or did you think, that's going to be awfully hard to beat?
Well, I didn't know what Kevin, what he ran, because he was the car right in front of me. I saw he got the pole. I could see the pylon. I looked out my window when he went by, and I saw he was first. So, I knew that it was better than whatever Casey ran, which he ran in 87. And so, I knew that I was going to have to run at least a couple tenths faster than I did, or at least a tenth faster than I did in practice. And I was just thinking more of where did I leave that on the racetrack in practice, and then you go down in 3 and 4, and when the car sticks, that's one step closer. Your car gives you confidence, it sticks. You go, okay, that's good. Carried good speed to the start-finish line into turn one. And, I made my arc in there, and when it takes that set and you get back in the throttle, if it gives you good feedback, you just keep feeding the throttle, and then you think down the back straightaway what you need to do for the next corner, and you hope it sticks, and luckily tonight it did.
Jim Utter, and finish with Dustin Long.
Jim Utter, Charlotte Observer. You have talked about qualifying at times all year, but really in recent weeks you've talked about it a lot more, about needing to qualify better. I just wondered, it almost sounded like you were challenging either your team or yourself, or perhaps both. Did you consider it something of that sort?
Well, I do consider myself a part of the team, so I'm always challenging myself and the team as one. I always take my part on my shoulders, and when we go into our debriefs, when we go through practice, when we go through a race, I'm no more important, no less important than anybody else out there. But they have to trust in me just like I have to trust in them. And all we have is that communication back and forth. And, to me, these guys have stuck with me all year long at times when I was frustrated myself, and I know they were frustrated with me that I didn't feel like I was getting the most out of it. But they also, I think, knew that they probably needed to make some adjustments themselves as well on the setups. And we've come together. That's all I can say is we've come together. Our cars are just performing better, and now we're able to build some positive confidence and momentum that we were lacking earlier in the season. And this is going to be huge. I mean, I know it's just qualifying, but this is huge. I see the look on my guys' face when I come out of a race and we're passing cars and driving in the front, like Chicago. We went to the back, but we were driving our way up through there and had a very fast race car. And those guys were fired up over that. They saw that, I might be 42 years old and been in the sport a long time and barely made it in the chase, but, put us in that moment with a car that handles like that. And I'm going to give it everything I've got. So we're really come together as a team, I guess, is basically what I'm trying to say.
Final question, Dustin.
Dustin Long, Motor Racing Network. Jeff, you've talked about momentum in the past and just how important it's been for any team. When you guys get the qualifying draw that you get here, and that your lap was a great lap, but certainly it's helped by that qualifying draw. What does that mean? How did that, I saw some of your guys say it looked like they were pretty excited when it happened. What did it mean for you? How does that impact the day? How does that carry over to something like this? Now you've got the pole. Now potentially you don't have to worry as much about track position. You've got the first pit stall. How does that kind of build? And does this start to feel like any other year in the chase or any other championship year?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. I've never won a chase, so I don't know what it's like to win a championship under this format, and it feels like it was another lifetime ago when I won a championship. It seems like it's been so long, but tonight felt like it because we won the pole. We were fast at Charlotte. That's a big deal. This is like home for everybody, and everybody's bringing all the power that they've got, the best race car they've got, and everybody's stepping it up. And I mean, last week we drew number 2, and we weren't real thrilled about that. We knew we were going to suffer a little bit from it. Tonight we drew 44 and ended up going out 43rd. And we knew it was an opportunity. But to me, the bigger opportunity was how good the car was in practice. The car just, were 4th fastest and made 2 really solid qualifying runs. And to me, that was more important than going out 44th. It was just an added bonus to go out 44th. It's just one of those things where the car builds confidence in me, and when I go out there, and we go out there and together and win a pole, it builds confidence back in the team. There's nothing greater than when it's all on the line, all the pressure is there. You're the final car to go. You had a great practice. There's nothing worse than letting them down, and there's nothing better than stepping up and knocking it out of the park. And, that's what I feel like we did tonight. And that makes me feel good because I know those guys are fired up for this race and for every race from here on out. and you know, I don't know what more to say other than you know, it's great to have everybody believing in one another like we do right now.
Jeff Gordon, congratulations on a big night here tonight at Charlotte, and we wish you a lot of luck this weekend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, my man. Enjoyed it.